We have already created a home page with all the necessary sections. All you have to do is edit the text and upload your images. We have created the home page to make your life easier and to make sure your home page is optimized for sales. If you do not need all of the sections, then you can simply hide them. We will show you how to do that now. First, click on the document overview icon located on the top left of the screen and then select the section that you want to hide. Let's remove the Trust Badges section as an example. Click on the section and then make sure that the Settings tab is also open under the tab labeled Block. Go to the Advanced tab and then under Responsive, you need to enable all of the tabs including Desktop, Tablet, and Mobile. This will hide the section if you plan to use it at a later stage. The first section that we need to edit is going to be the Hero section at the top of the home page. You can edit the text of the title, the supporting content under the title, the button, and also the image. Click on the title and open the Settings tab to the right, and then click on Style. First, edit the content of the title by adding the text to the content bar. Next, make sure that the H1 heading is selected for the title. The H1 heading is the most important heading and should only be used once on a page to identify it. In this case, we are using it as the title of the Hero section. You can also change the typography and size of the heading if you have not changed it in the global settings. If you change the settings here, then it will only affect this individual heading. You can also change the text color and add a text shadow if you want to. You can also change the spacing between the heading and all the other blocks around it by going to the Layout section and then the Block Size and Spacing tab. In the Spacing section, you can adjust its minimum height, align the content vertically, set a max content width, and change the paddings and margin. All these settings are also subject to the screen size that you set for it, such as tablet and mobile. What is the difference between padding and margin? Padding and margin are both spacing properties in web design, but they serve different purposes. Padding is the space inside an element, between the content and its border. It controls how much breathing room the content has within its own container. Margin, on the other hand, is the space outside an element, pushing it away from other elements. While padding affects an element's internal spacing, margin controls the external spacing between elements on a web page. Under the heading, you have the text block that you can use to add supporting content to the heading. Next, let's edit the button by clicking on it. You can change the text of the button by clicking on the text and changing it. On the Settings tab, you can also change the styles by clicking on the one that you prefer and also its hover effect. The hover effect will play once you hover your mouse over the button. You can also add a link to the button. This button was created to link to the shop page. We can add the following part of the link to this field: /shop/. Add the link and then click on Submit. Next, we can change the button colors. Let's make the button red, which is the same as our primary brand color. We're going to keep the text white. For button size and spacing, we can change the padding to adjust its size. You can also make the button full width to take up the width of its container. You can also add a border around the button, adjusting the border style, the border width, color, and its radius to give it rounded corners. You can also add an icon to the button, the icon color, size, and position. You can also change its typography that include the font family and size. Next, we're going to change the image. You can change it by clicking on the image and then uploading the one that you want to add. In this case, we need a portrait-shaped image. Under Style, you can change its aspect ratio, width, and height. Let's choose the portrait as its aspect ratio and leave the width and height as default. That is it for the Hero section. Under the Hero section, we have the Trust Badges. You can edit the text and icon the same way as you did with the Hero section. To add an additional badge, you can open the document overview on the left and click on the left arrow of the Trust Badges for it to open. Select any of the inner columns and click on the Options icon, which is the three dots to the right. Click on Duplicate to make a copy of the selected badge. You can now edit the content of the badge that you just copied. It is always better to rather make a duplicate of a layout or part of a layout and edit than to edit the content instead of trying to create everything from scratch. This way the design will also be more consistent. The categories and collections will be beneath the Trust Badges. This section consists of a shortcode that is already added for you. This shortcode will automatically pull the data from your categories to display the category image and title. Let's edit the shortcode. You can select the categories that you want to display by adding the ID of each category. You can find the IDs in the category section under Products. Hover your mouse over the category that you want to add to see its product ID. The product ID will be displayed at the bottom of the screen within the link of the category. Once you have the ID, you can then add it to the shortcode under the IDs tag. Remember to add a comma and space after the last ID before adding the new one. You can also arrange the IDs on the category page the same way you want them to be displayed on the home page. You can select the number of categories you want to show and also how many columns you want to display. This section is already created for you and will pull the products under each tab. The Hot Sellers tab will display the products that sell the most. The On Sale tab will show only products on sale, and the New Arrivals tab will show the newest products that you uploaded to your store. You can change the number of products to display and also the number of columns on the screen. As default, we display only 8 products under 4 columns. This section is called the Call to Action and can be used to add some information about your shop, directing people to click on the shop page. You can hide this section or you can use it. This section uses an image as a background. Let's show you how to edit it. First, click on the section and make sure you selected the columns block labeled as Image Background under the Document Overview. Then go to the Style tab and click on the Background panel to open. Under Background Image or Video, you can upload the image that you want. Make sure to upload an image that is at least 1920 pixels in width. Otherwise, the quality of the image will not be good. Whenever you add text on top of an image, you need to make sure that there is enough contrast between the color of the text and that of the image. If the contrast is too low, then you will not be able to see the text clearly. We want the text to stand out by changing the color of the text or adding a background overlay over the image to make the text more visible. Here's how to do it. Just above the image, you will find a setting where you can change the background color. The background color will depend on the contrast of the image. If the image is very white in color, then we need to change the background to black and vice versa. To see the effect of the background color over the image, you need to increase the background media tint strength, which will change the transparency of the overlay. Change it enough so that the text is visible without completely masking the image. You would handle the heading, text, and button the same way as you would the previous sections. The fixed background setting will make the image stick to the background whenever you scroll up or down. These settings can be disabled if needed. The Products on Sale with the Countdown section is useful if you have products on sale, but you also want to include a countdown timer to add some urgency to the sale. If you do not have any products on sale yet, but you plan to have them in the future, then we would recommend you only hide this section. We explained earlier how to hide a section. If you do have products on sale, then we would highly recommend using this section. This section will already showcase the products that are on sale, and you only need to change some of the text, the image, and the countdown timer. We already explained how to edit images and text, but not yet how to edit the countdown timer. Let's begin by clicking on the countdown timer and make sure you have selected the block labeled Countdown. When you open the Settings tab on the right, you will notice that a calendar will be displayed. You can select the Due Date button if you do not want the timer to constantly repeat itself with the recurring setting. WooCommerce allows you to schedule a start and end date for products that are on sale. Select the time and the date to which the timer will expire and make sure your time zone is also correct. Let's leave all the other settings for now. This section allows you to pull the data from any selected product in your store and display it on your homepage. Your customer can add this product directly to their cart without having to go to the single product page. This section avoids additional steps between the product and cart page. We have added a countdown timer that you can use in case of a product that is on sale to trigger urgency. You can delete or hide this section if you do not need or want it. Here's how to edit it. Click on any part of the block and make sure your document overview is open. Select the block labeled Single Product and open its settings. Open the Product tab and search for the product that you want to display in the section. You can also change the styling of each individual element by selecting the block and changing its settings. The countdown timer works the same as that of the previous section. If you already have some testimonials for your store, then you can add some of them to your homepage. You can add the testimonial itself along with an image of the customer and the customer's name. You can just replace the image and text. Here is also some information on the image settings that we use to make the image a small round shape. We made the image height and width 75 pixels with a border radius of 90. You also need to make sure the focal point is pointing over the image. What do you do if you want to add an additional testimonial? We want to duplicate one of the testimonials so that we do not need to create it from scratch. To do that, click on any part of the block, but make sure the document overview panel to the left is open. Once you click on an element, you will notice that all the blocks outside the one you selected will open up. Now you will have a better understanding of how everything is laid out. We want to duplicate the block labeled as Inner Column that is located just above the block labeled Testimonial. Click on the settings icon to the right and select Duplicate. You will notice that a duplicate was created and you are ready to edit the information. If the testimonial blocks are too cramped and you want to maintain a column count of 3, then you need to select the Columns block that contains the inner blocks for the testimonials. Then go to the right-hand sidebar under Settings and select Layout. Do not change anything under the Columns setting, but enable the setting that is labeled Allow Column Wrapping. Now for each testimonial, you can add a column width that is measured as a percentage. Each row will have a total width of 100%, so if you want to have 3 columns in a row, then you need to make all the columns 33% each, because 100%/3 equals 33%. Make sure that each column has a width for it to move to a new row, otherwise they will cramp the first row. You can also change the percentages on the tablet and mobile screen as well. For mobile, we keep the width of each testimonial at 100% to make it full width. Just as but a taste of how to create your own layouts. We will go into more depth at a later stage. Let's say you want to cherry pick or highlight certain products that you want to show to your customers. How would you go about this? This is where the Editor's Pick section comes into play. You can change the number of products to show and also the number of columns. To add a product to this list, you need to set it as a featured product under All Products. You will notice that there is a star icon that you need to toggle to make the product a featured product. The last section that we need to edit is the blog role section. If you plan to not have a blog, then you can delete this section. This section will display the titles and featured images of the 3 latest blog posts that you have. Most store owners will stop at the end of this video. You can continue with the tutorial and the rest of the videos if you want to change or add additional patterns or layouts to your homepage.